Hi, I'm Anna Catherine. I'm a junior here, and I'd like to thank you all for being here and to thank my parents for coming up from South Carolina to see this speech. In most Psychology 101 classes, we are taught that there are two types of people in this world. Those who are results-oriented and those who are process-oriented. My mom, Jana Daley, is one of the most process-oriented people you will ever meet. From deciding on a restaurant to helping decide if our family should move to another state, my mom enjoys weighing all of the possible options before, or instead of, ever making a decision. Because that's just how my mom is. Before my family takes a trip, my mom likes to inform us of all the options we have as far as what to do, where to stay, and where to eat. And often the final decision is not made until the day before or even the day of. Last year before I left Hillsdale to go home for Thanksgiving, my friends asked where I would be going on Thanksgiving Day. And I told them I didn't know yet, because that's just how my mom is. Growing up, if my sister and I were given some kind of nice food or drink by the neighbors or some friends at church, my mom would encourage us to wait and consume that item at a time that was just right. One of my dad's favorite stories is from when he and my mom were getting into the car after their wedding reception. Inside the car, there was a bottle of champagne. My mom hesitated before opening it, and with a completely straight look on her face, she asked him, "Shouldn't we save this for a special occasion?" And yet, what I've learned over the past few years is that the reason my mom is so indecisive is because she wants every moment in life to be perfect. And that's because she cares so deeply about the welfare and happiness of those around her. She habitually looks outside of herself and to the needs of others. She is giving, she's forgiving. She is selfless, and she is always the one to take the burnt toast. And that's just how my mom is. And I've come to realize that though my mom is so indecisive about the little things, when she does decide to do something big, something that's really been tugging at her, she does not look back. She is intrepid, fearless. In those moments, her inertia is overcome by a compelled propulsion, and she goes zooming ahead. In her mid-20s, dissatisfied by her job as a corporate attorney, my mom took a job as executive director for our state's branch of an education nonprofit. When my mom became frustrated with the education my sister and I were getting in elementary school, she decided to try homeschooling us. And that went on for 12 years. When my mom learned that working part-time at our local airport meant that our entire family could fly standby anywhere in the world for free, you can bet that she applied for the first job opening that she saw. And after what seemed like at least 40 online interviews, she became a Delta customer service rep. And that's just how my mom is. Many people see opportunities like these as ones that would be cool to try out someday when there's enough time, but just ultimately aren't worth the effort. They see there being simply too many hurdles to jump, but there's simply no hurdle too high for my mom to think it's worth making the jump, and that's just how she is. After the Bahamas were devastated by Hurricane Dorian earlier this year, my mom became frustrated with how little the government and even private organizations were doing to help. So she reached out to families and friends and pulled together funds and supplies for the victims. Because of her flying benefits with Delta, she and a coworker, a native of the Bahamas, were able to fly down to bring supplies and to help with the hurricane efforts. My mom's the one who encouraged my family to take part in a hosting program, which brought orphans from Eastern Europe to the United States for Christmas, which is what led to my family adopting a teenage boy from Ukraine 8 years ago, which is why I can always tell people that I have a brother who's only 4 months younger than me. Just think about that. 2 years ago, my mom befriended a 19-year-old single expecting mom at our church. And now, sweet Carolyn and her 1-year-old son live with us, and we consider them a part of our family too. That's just how my mom is. My mom's not perfect. In high school, I was convinced she was trying to make my life as miserable as possible. As a very results-oriented person myself, my mom's indecisiveness drove me crazy. it still drives me crazy. My mom's also stubborn and passionate, and so am I. So that meant that our arguments would get a little more heated than they needed to be. But looking back now, I see that the decisions my mom made that I thought were surely meant to make my life a living hell were actually made out of wanting what was best for me. And my mom has always wanted the best for every person that she meets. Sometimes it's my dad, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's one of my siblings, sometimes it's a friend from church, or sometimes it's just someone she's checking in at the airport. Her example has taught me what it means to truly look outside of yourself and to be so engaged in serving others that you simply forget that yourself even exists. And that's just how my mom is.